Hey y'all, my name is Lauren Sevier. I'm an author, YouTuber, and mom from Louisiana, and today's topic is a really fun one. I'm actually going to be talking about how my acting experience actually helped me write better dialogue, and I'm here to share all of my tips and tricks with all of you. So, let's just jump right on in, do all the things, ring the bells, like, subscribe, get notified, and let's get started. Y'all probably already know by now, I'm a little bit on the dramatic side, but you probably aren't aware that I actually have an extensive background in acting. I've been acting since I was 5 years old. I've been in dozens of productions, from plays to musicals to even amateur films. I actually went to college on a theater-based performance scholarship and majored in theater, and my mom's a local drama teacher, so I even taught her students several workshops on things like makeup for the stage combat, and Shakespeare. That's right, Shakespeare, the bard himself, the father and creator of words and phrases that we still use to this day. As a playwright and poet, his published works are heavy on dialogue. He not only created completely new words in the English language, but a different tone and cadence with iambic pentameter in which to speak them so that you could understand or infer their meaning through context clues within his written speeches. Shakespeare learned how to speak to his audience first as an actor. Then he translated that understanding of how to communicate with his audience into something completely new and wholly original through his writing, and is still touted as a literary genius to this day. So that's the first lesson. Figure out who your audience is. Until you know who you're writing for, your dialogue won't have a lens to focus through. When you know who they are, you'll understand better how you should talk to them. And by you, I mean your characters, of course. Next, I want to speak to you about Anton Chekhov, another playwright and brilliant short story author. I could fill a whole shelf with the books and articles I've read dissecting his unique writing style that perfected the art of subtext. His plays are well known for having hidden meaning between the lines of dialogue. That's where the acting and interpretation would come in, allowing actors to create an entirely new narrative based on subtext alone. Understanding effective and innovative dialogue in writing is knowing that there's what you say and what you mean, and those two things might not always be the same. So how do you find the balance? That's lesson number 2. Find the balance. I suggest going scene by scene, figuring out what your character's motivations are and how much or how little they're willing to divulge. You may find a lot more places to cut unnecessary fluff from dialogue, and that your dialogue is translated easier to your readers with less instead of more. Remember that unless you're writing a play, you have the benefit of using exposition to describe a setting, world build, give us a general sense of your character's motivations, thoughts, feelings, goals. Dialogue is a tool that we use to create tension and change within a narrative. Communication issues or assumptions can be a vehicle for comedy, like in Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, or the cause of tragedy. Subtext can be used to take a boring meaning and infuse the scene with sizzling sexual tension, or intimidation tactics from a nemesis. Lastly, I want to quote my own mother. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Often when I was growing up, I heard this advice, not just in her classroom either. I have to say that I was definitely a sarcastic teenager, and oftentimes when I said, "Yes, ma'am," it was in a tone that left no room for the imagination, that I was still being a rebellious little brat. Shocker. I know. Anyway, this is lesson number 3. It's not what you say, but how you say it. In other words, tone matters, but how can you write tone? Have you ever read a book and when you get to a section of dialogue, you could hear it so clearly in your mind? That's how you know the author has written great tone in their dialogue. Before I go into this specific topic any further, I do want to clear up a common misconception. Tone in writing is not writing a local dialect into your dialogue. So it's not adding like a bunch of y'alls and ain'ts and chopping off the ends of ing words only to add in apostrophe instead. Those dialect-specific changes, if used to carry the weight of tone in your character's dialogue, can come off as cheesy, offensive, or lazy in your writing. Typically, I don't advise writing them in until you've done a few drafts and rounds of edits and tightened up your dialogue as a whole. Writing tone is a lot like foreshadowing a plot twist. It's about breadcrumbs and character development. How a person speaks says a lot about them. Does the leading man in your Southern romance have a long drawl that makes your protagonist swoon? Or does he speak in clipped, authoritative sentences, hinting at a troubled past and walls that have been built up around his heart? Do the elves in your fantasy world speak in slow, formal tones that remind your main character of wind chimes? Does the best friend in your road trip story round the O sounds like they always have something in their mouth that they're trying to talk around, annoying your main character to no end? All of these phrases and considerations can be added into your character development and exposition, setting the stage for the dialogue throughout your novel, like breadcrumbs sprinkled throughout the character descriptions or scenes so that readers get pulled into the world and hear your dialogue right alongside your protagonist. It goes a lot further than just putting in a y'all or two in any case. So those are 3 of the things that my acting experience taught me about how to write effective dialogue. Just to recap, figure out who your audience is, find the balance, and tone matters. If you like this video or want to see more content like this on my channel, please consider liking the video, subscribing, or ringing the bell to be notified whenever new ones are made available. Or you could comment down below because I love talking to all of you. Writing and editing dialogue is one of my favorite things to do, and having a background in theater has really made it a strength of mine. A short reminder that I do offer editing services that include helping you make your dialogue really take your novel to the next level through my website. All the links and things are in the description box below. You know what to do. Anyway, thank you so much for spending time with me today. Have a great night, everybody.